Every bit of credible medical research points to vaccination as a necessary health measure for children. Yet still, the anti-vaccination lobby keeps on keeping on, spreading its fear and misinformation. Its roots are in a 1998 research paper that raised possible links between the measles, mumps, rubella booster and autism, even though the paper was later retracted and declared fraudulent. The supposed autism link, though, is causing some American parents to opt out of vaccination, and the medical establishment says it's leading to outbreaks of preventable childhood diseases. North America correspondent Jane Cowan reports.
Look at Dad's corn, it's tasseling. It's getting ready to tassel, or it already has tasseled? Oh, it already has tasseled.
Growing up on a farm in America's Midwest is about as good as it gets for a child. But 13 years ago, the Duffy family's idyllic life was shattered.
Early evening, Abigail came to me and said that she didn't feel good, that she had a headache, which I thought was kind of strange for a 5-year-old. And then she ran to the bathroom and started vomiting.
Overnight, Abigail's condition worsened until her parents rushed her to hospital.
She was leaning into me while we were driving, and I could literally feel her leaving me. I could feel her dying in my arms. And she said to me her last words, "Mommy, I hurt all over."
An autopsy revealed Abigail had died from pneumococcal disease.
I believe in vaccinations, and I had my children vaccinated. I didn't have her vaccinated for pneumococcal.
Are you ready? Because I need you to help me out.
There's no federal mandate requiring American children to be vaccinated.
Here we go.
While vaccination rates remain high overall, according to American health authorities, those statistics could mask clusters of unvaccinated children.
We'll explore the worst whooping cough outbreak in California in more than 60 years.
The whooping cough epidemic was declared after...
In recent years, there's been a resurgence of diseases virtually unseen for a generation.
Whooping cough, known as pertussis, can...
like whooping cough and measles.
They're following a surge in reported cases of measles.
With outbreaks from New York City to California.
A measles outbreak in Ohio and state...
Some parents are afraid of vaccines. That's causing them not to get them. And as a consequence, you're starting to see herd immunity breakdown. This is a typical anti-vaccine magazine, it sounds.
Paediatrician Paul Offit is an infectious disease specialist and co-inventor of the rotavirus vaccine. He's become the face of the medical community's case for vaccinations.
I don't have a problem if parents want to martyr themselves to a belief they have. I do have a problem when they choose to martyr their child to that belief. I think that's when the state should step in, and I think states shouldn't allow parents to put their children at unnecessary risk.
If more vaccines equaled more health, you would see that America would be by far the healthiest nation on the planet. Whereas what you actually see is that America is 56th in infant mortality, which is below countries like Cuba and Serbia.
James MASKELL and his wife have lived in New York for nearly 10 years, but they haven't adopted America's vaccine schedule for their first child, Kaliana. At 14 months, she's yet to be vaccinated against any of the childhood diseases.
My concern is that vaccination is playing some part of that role in driving chronic and autoimmune diseases because you only see them in, you see the prevalence of them much higher in westernized countries.
Autism is among the conditions James MASKELL is concerned about.
Autism is a behavioural diagnosis and therefore can't really be caused by vaccines in a sort of classic cause and effect way. But there are other symptoms of autism and things that go along with autism, like bowel disease, like encephalitis, and like febrile seizures that absolutely have a lot of science that show that those can be caused by vaccination.
The Earth isn't flat, it's round, and vaccines don't cause autism. That's just a matter of scientific fact.
These are not uneducated groups of parents, though, who are now taking up this idea that there is a link.
I think in order to say that vaccines do cause autism, you have to be a conspiracy theorist. You have to believe that there's this massive international conspiracy among many research groups to hide the truth and hurt children.
The idea of them pumping something into your veins directly with a needle, it just doesn't seem normal.
I've been very scared of shots.
It's a heated debate. Just how heated a group of high school filmmakers found out when they made a documentary about the science of vaccines and became the targets of a vociferous anti-vaccine movement.
The local newspaper mentioned that we were the topic of our next film, and instantly we started getting nasty messages, phone calls to the school.
Coalitions all around the country are showing it.
The student documentary was screened on Capitol Hill.
Not only have we largely eliminated measles, we've largely eliminated...
Dr. Paul Offit helped launch the film, along with actress Amanda Peet, who's lending her celebrity to the pro-vaccine message.
My daughter Molly contracted pertussis when she had had 2 out of her 3 vaccines. Epidemiology isn't sexy, and data doesn't feel personal. And but I'm a data person. If I weren't a data person, I wouldn't get on a plane because I would be terrified. If I just went with my emotions, I would be completely terrified. It doesn't make any sense. But they're experts, and I think at a certain point you have to have respect for that.
Complicating the picture is something known as the US Vaccine Court, which administers a no-fault system for resolving vaccine injury claims as an alternative to suing vaccine manufacturers. The idea is to protect the vaccine supply. The court was established in 1986 after a scare over the combined diphtheria, whooping cough and tetanus vaccine caused makers to temporarily halt production.
The courts are not a place to determine scientific truth. The courts are a place only to settle disputes. If you want to know whether or not vaccines cause autism, you don't look to the courts. You look to scientific studies.
The decision not to vaccinate isn't one Father James MASKELL arrived at casually.
Do you not worry about your own child?
Of course I worry. I mean, I'm human. It's still in question. At age 2, if we go to different parts of Africa or other people outside of America, I would maybe consider making different choices with vaccination, but I'm very comfortable with the choices that I've made now.
Yeah, I know.
For Shannon Duffy, life now revolves around raising her 3 other children, including Amelia, a spitting image of the sister she never met.
I'm not a celebrity, but I've had a real experience, and I want to share that with parents so that they know that this has happened. It happened in Minnesota. It happens more often in undeveloped countries, but it can happen in America with the best of health care.
And a postscript to that report from Jane Cowan. The vaccination debate here is flaring up again too. A social media campaign has started to stop a high-profile American anti-vaccine campaigner from delivering lectures here in March.